Hello YouTube, how is everyone doing? It's Professional here. Welcome back to my playthrough of Ace Attorney Investigations. We're continuing where we left off, and we're gonna investigate the murder on this plane and find out exactly what's going on here. I'm convinced it's either the captain or LeBlanc that did it. But anyways, let's continue here. And also, sorry for not having a part up in about 2 days. I've been visiting my family, so I traveled, visiting my family right now. And I was just editing that retail video, but I'll try to have each of these up every day. I know that once we had landed, I'm supposed to let the local police take over. And thanks to Miss Teneiro and Miss Meal, I was able to preserve the crime scene. But I just can't shake it. I wasn't able to talk with Miss Teneiro in private. So I'm left wondering just what was she up to? Why did she do what she did? Yes, she's somehow involved. I don't think she's the killer, but she's somehow involved. There must be a way for me to continue my investigation. I've been expecting you, Miles Edgeworth. Franziska, I thought you were still in Germany. Oh. So this is Franziska von Karma, and she is, she is Manfred von Karma's daughter, who raised Edgeworth, but again, Karma was a bad person. And Franziska is kind of like his little stepsister in a way, though he doesn't refer to her as his stepsister. And she is she's also a prosecutor. She was a pretty big prosecutor in the original Ace Attorney games. But the funny thing about her is her whip. She always hits anybody with her whip that she doesn't like. And on top of that, whenever she's talking, she's extremely formal, and she always says everybody's full name. Whenever she would fight Phoenix Wright in court, she would always constantly say, Phoenix Wright, Phoenix Wright. Like, nobody ever said it like that. Like, everybody would always say Mr. Wright, but she would always say Phoenix Wright. So she would always say the name fully. Franziska, I thought you were still in Germany. I go where I am needed. And wherever there are criminals to be caught. Her name is Franziska von Karma. The daughter of my mentor, Manfred von Karma. She, like myself, is a prosecutor. Are you heading up this case? It would be a bit of a relief if you are. Don't you try to flatter me, Miles Edgeworth. I'm placing you under arrest. What? But, again, she always says everybody's first and last name. Like, she's extremely formal with that. What? It's quite frustrating, actually. I'd hoped to exact my revenge on you in a different venue. But I'll have to take what I can get. I never thought I'd see the day. When a disciple of the House of Von Karma would become a criminal. Have you no shame? Wait, it has all been a big misunderstanding. I didn't kill the victim. A misunderstanding? I heard all about the murder over the police radio from the captain himself. You waited for the victim on the first floor and then beat him to death. Franziska, do you honestly believe that I killed a man? Yeah. I suppose I should reserve judgment until after I've investigated this for myself. I can put your arrest on hold until then. That's as it should be. Ha! I don't need a lecture on how to perform my duties from you, of all people. To be perfect in every way, the fulfillment of that creed alone is all I strive for. And in the original Ace Attorney game, she was actually my favorite prosecutor to go up against, except Edgeworth. So Edgeworth in the Edgeworth was always my favorite character, but personally, out of all the prosecutors to battle, I thought she was always the best one to go up against, and she would always have a massive temper tantrum and get extremely angry in court. To be perfect in every way, the fulfillment of that creed alone is all I strive for. Well, I have my own creed, which I must fulfill, so why don't we solve this together? I have to get going. The crime scene awaits. Don't you dare leave town. Trust me, I had no intention to. Detective Gumshoe. Yes, sir. Oh, about that is, she's gonna hit him with the whip. She did that in the other game. She always would hit Gumshoe. Too slow. Oh. She's gonna do it. Ow. Listen up. I'm leaving you in charge of watching this man. Don't mess up, understand? Mr. Edgeworth, I'm supposed to guard him? A simple yes or no, detective. Ah, yes, sir. Understood, sir. You just leave it to me. Miles Edgeworth. If you interfere with my investigation, I'll arrest you on the spot. Are we clear? Now then, if you'll excuse me.
Good to see you again, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Boy, am I glad to see you're okay.
Thank you, Detective.
I believe in you, sir. You can lean on me. I'll get you through this.
I have to admit, I'm a bit curious as to what Franziska is up to. Maybe I should ask the good detective. Very well. In that case, I have a few questions for you. This is the first Ace Attorney game where you can actually run around, and I actually really like this. And I would like to see this formula in future Ace Attorney games as well. Initial investigation. So how is this initial investigation going?
We just shipped the body off to the coroner's office. And we're taking statements now, sir.
That sounds like Franziska. She was always good at quick responses to a case.
I'd say she was a little too quick, sir.
Oh, how so?
I rushed on over as soon as I got word of the affair, sir. But somehow, when I got here, Miss Von Karma was already here barking out orders at everyone. It was kind of creepy, as though she knew there had been a murder or something. And had come in advance to await your flight's arrival.
That is sort of odd. She did show up rather quickly, and out of the blue. Plus, I still don't know why she's here in America. She probably came here to see Edgeworth. That's probably what it's about. There must be some backstory to all of this. Franziska Von Karma.
Miss Von Karma just kind of popped up at the prosecutor's office about a week ago, sir. Something about chasing down leads relating to a certain incident.
No details.
It's kind of top secret, so she can't really talk about it, even with me, sir.
Knowing her, the only type of talking she likes to do is with her whip. Plus, I doubt the top secret part was what stopped her from talking to you, Detective. Although, I wonder if her case has anything to do with mine.
Anyway, that's about all the info I have, sir. We should find out more as we investigate.
Yes, it is high time to resume my investigation. Starting with talking to the people involved in this case afresh. Okay, so Gumshoe is my partner on this case. This child seems to be happily enjoying the sight of so many planes.
I'm all excited to see this many planes, too. Just look at the size of these things.
Do you like planes too, mister? The balance between the main wings and the tail wings is really something, huh? Ha. It seems a child derives his pleasure from a different aspect.
Oh, but I've also got a thing for the shape of the wings, too.
Here, mister, you can stand next to me, so about that plane's wing.
Thank you, Detective, for leaving me out of this conversation. Looking from behind, I think I've seen this man somewhere before. Is that the director? Is that Salmonella? Nom 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 nom. In Soviet Russia, world flag lunchboxes eat J00? Nerve.
Mr. Edgeworth, we gotta get him some water.
Found it, lol. Oh, I feel a wave of creative power coming on. It's over 9,000 lols. For my next, late movie, it's gonna be the Steel Samurai Warrior of Neo Old Tokyo versus the World Samurai Champion of Earth. It's gonna rock so many boxers.
Whew, good thing it was a false alarm, right, Mr. Edgeworth?
So the Steel Samurai is finally getting a movie.
Completely ignore me as usual, whimper.
So this guy right here, I recognized him just from the back. I remember all the old Ace Attorney games, I remember them. I'll have the picture of the guy up on the screen. The guy's name is Salmonella. He's a director, and his name is, he's a very disgusting guy, and that's why his name is Salmonella, like the food poisoning. He's constantly eating and not a sanitary person. But about him, he was actually involved in a murder case in the first game, where there was actually a corrupt director who she was actually blackmailing this actor and forcing him to work for very little because he accidentally killed another actor years prior, and that actor tried to kill her, and she killed him, and then he helped her actually cover up the body and frame another actor for it. That was in the Steel Samurai murder case in the very first Ace Attorney game. Actually, Edgeworth was actually the prosecutor on that case, so he would remember Salmonella. He actually lost the case. Phoenix beat him in that case. But yeah, I'm surprised he's still not in prison. He didn't actually commit a killing, so he didn't have anything to do with the murder. He just helped cover up the murder, but, so I guess he's out of prison. This is the guy from the plane. This man was in first class with me. He was quite shaken up by the whole affair.
I'd be pretty scared too if I got caught up in a murder investigation, sir.
I did it. I made it the whole flight. I'm not scared of turbulence anymore. This life vest is proof I made it alive. It's now my prized possession. How could you just take that from the plane?
It's okay, Mr. Edgeworth. It's got nothing to do with the murder, at least.
What's going on here? Lunchland? Not bad. I guess it's gotten big enough to warrant its own branch shops.
Oh, I've always wanted to give their steak lunch a try.
What should I go with? I recommend our airport special, Rolled Flags lunchbox, is only available for a limited time. We have a variety of lunchboxes made up to look like different countries' flags. If you really want one that badly, Detective, why don't you go ahead and buy one?
Is that okay, sir? Thanks. Alright, then I'm really gonna get one. Here I go. Excuse me, miss. I'll take a Star-Spangled Banner lunchbox, please.
An American-themed lunchbox. I hope he's aware that's the most expensive one on the menu. What a view of the planes preparing for takeoff.
I want to ride a plane someday and go overseas.
Have you never been to another country before, Detective?
Nope, not yet, sir. I don't even have a passport. But I've been saving up for that eventual someday. A penny a day to be precise.
At that rate, he won't be making any trips until well after retirement. March 12th, 1:37 p.m. Flight G390, second floor, first class. So you must be the captain. Why, yes I am. And who might you be? I am the prodigy prosecutor, Franziska von Karma, and I have a few questions for you. I'm gonna make an accent how I think the captain sounds. Ah, don't you dare, Captain. Getting friendly with another woman? Oh, is the captain having an affair with her? I'll never forgive you if you do. What are you talking about? I only have eyes for you, my dear Cammy. I wouldn't bet money on our dear captain to be much of a reputable person.
Sure you don't want to ask the captain some questions, sir?
He was in the cockpit the entire time. I highly doubt he would know anything of use. Anyway, I'd like to leave that type of witness to Franziska and her wit. Ah! Oh, LeBlanc is still here. Oh, he's a prime suspect. He might be the killer. March 12, 1:40 p.m. Flight G390, first floor lounge. Now see here.
Oh! Sorry, I'm sorry!
How long do you intend to hold me? It's impossible for me to be the criminal, I told you. Mr. LeBlanc. Oh, it is you. Tell this man to stop me from going. Time is money. I don't have even 1 second of wasteful time to spend. Did you finish taking his statement yet?
Yup, all done, sir.
I do not concern if you're not done examining the cargo hold. I want my cargo back. LeBlanc's cargo? If you make a single scratch of my art, you will pay. Art? What sort of art?
Mr. LeBlanc is an art dealer, so he's got a bunch of artwork down in the cargo hold, sir. There's practically a mountain of them, large and small.
From folk costumes to stone statues, I sell all kinds of arts. Folk costumes. Speaking of which, Mr. LeBlanc's hat. Kind of looks like that other piece of cloth. Yup. Found inside the suitcase. It's a beautiful pattern has been soiled by blood. This. For there to be this much blood on this piece of cloth. Was the victim wrapped in it at some point? There's something very familiar about this fabric pattern. Present this. Mr. LeBlanc, can you please take a look at this for me? Oh, it's a Borginian cloth. As I suspected. Your hat is made of the same material, I suppose. Yes, of course. This fabric is so famous. Orders come from all over the seas for more. World-famous export of Virginia. Its beautiful pattern has been soiled by blood. Then this is the cargo you were talking about earlier? No. My cargo this time is many gigantic. You, detective, when can I have my cargo moved?
You can get your cargo back when we're done investigating, pal.
The stubbornness of you police. It is no good. And it's no good that Attendant refuses to exit the attendance room too. That Attendant. I wonder if he's talking to Miss Teneiro. She's still in there? What did you mean by that Attendant, Mr. LeBlanc? She was taken into the attendance room for her interview. And then they still have not come out. They make no sign of coming out either. I was finished with my own interview much earlier. Quicker than her. Why is Miss Teneiro's interview the only one that's taking up so much time? Miles Edgeworth, you were given free reign to examine the plane, weren't you? Yes, I was, able to obtain the cooperation of the flight attendants. Speaking of attendants, I'd like to speak with Miss Teneiro. I wonder if you might grant me permission to enter the flight attendants' room. Before I do, you still have to clear up a few issues surrounding your own circumstances. I understand. You may have tricked those attendants with your sophisticated talking. But you can't pull the wool over my eyes, Miles Edgeworth. Franziska's logic. Let's not complicate things and not go with the most obvious conclusion. The scene of the crime was here. In the very lounge the body was discovered. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found. The only person in this lounge the entire time was you, Miles Edgeworth. This unmistakably makes you the likeliest suspect. The likeliest suspect, Franziska. Do you have a problem with that? No, but it's not like you to use such vague wording. You're usually a bit more absolute. I'm simply trying to watch out for you. Or is my kindness too hard for you to comprehend? Thank you, but your leniency is unnecessary, for I will prove my innocence soon enough. If I want to continue my investigation, I'll have to break her line of logic fast. Okay, rebuttal. Let's not complicate things, and go with the most obvious conclusion.
Hold it!
Don't you think you're being a bit rash by simply declaring me the culprit? I like my affairs to be simple and perfect. I'll show you the meaning of both when I finish this whole thing within 3 minutes.
Hey! You say that like you're cooking a pack of instant noodles! Throw!
I won't allow even 3 seconds useless testimony to be uttered in my presence. I see she hasn't changed a bit. But I won't allow her to send me to prison so easily. The scene of the crime was here, in the very lounge the body was discovered.
Hold it!
So tell me, Franziska, do you know all there is to know about the crime scene? I know all that I need to know in order to arrest you. And nothing more? Are you saying there is more I need to know?
Ah! Why did you whip me, sir?
Sorry, Scruffy. My hand must have slipped. It would appear that Franziska doesn't have all the facts in this case yet. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found.
Hold it!
What do you mean by seen? Please stop pretending like you don't know. It's insulting. Obviously, I'm talking about how Mr. Hicks was seen calling for an attendant at 5 a.m. And then from the time after the call until the body was found. The only person in this lounge the entire time was you, Miles Edgeworth.
Hold it!
While it's true that I was in the lounge the whole time, that fact alone does not make me the criminal.
Objection!
We'll see about that at the conclusion of this investigation. However, there is one thing that even you must admit at this time. This unmistakably makes you the likeliest suspect.
Hold it!
Under the circumstances, I suppose I can agree that I am the most likely suspect.
But I believe in you, sir. I don't think you did it. Miss Von Karma's gotta believe that too, right? I mean, you two are like siblings. Oh!
Quiet, Scruffy. Even if we were related by blood, that's no guarantee that he's not a criminal. Franziska. I demand to see some proof that you are not the guilty party. The likeliest suspect, huh? What a roundabout euphemism. But it would appear that she doesn't yet know about the new evidence that we acquired and where we acquired it. I'll take care of the gaps in her logic, one hole at a time. The scene of the crime was... He wasn't killed in the lounge. Yeah, this. The body was transported. The luggage, the briefcase.
Objection!
It would appear that you did not have all the information you needed after all. And what does that mean? I found a nice piece of evidence just before I was forced to stop investigating. A piece that proves that the body was moved from a different location. Here's the music that kicks in. I love it when this happens. The killer used this suitcase to move the victim's body. Meaning that the real scene of the crime is not this lounge at all.
Objection!
Now, who's the one rashly jumping to conclusions? Excuse me? All you did was find this piece of cloth inside the suitcase. That doesn't prove that the body was moved. It could be that the killer simply chose the suitcase as a good place to hide the cloth. I expected you would come to that conclusion. It would seem I can't escape that easily. You should know better than that. Von Karma is perfect in every way. Ah, but did you know that the killer definitely wheeled the suitcase around at some point?
Objection!
As if there is proof of that. Where's the proof that the suitcase was moved around? Prove that the suitcase was moved. Okay, we're looking for proof that the, Let me just get my camera out of the way so you guys can see it better. Okay, we're looking for proof that the, that the body was moved. What is the proof that the suitcase was moved around? Right here, the footprints and something was dragged.
Take that!
The spilled grape juice in front of the elevator? Yes, and I'd like to draw your attention to this area here. Where is the evidence that proves the killer dragged the suitcase through here? Here. This.
Take that!
This mark here, wouldn't you say that looks like suspiciously like tracks from two wheels? I suppose. Further, there's also grape juice residue on the wheels of the suitcase. This means that the suitcase containing the victim's body definitely passed through here. I suppose this means that the killer did move the victim's body from somewhere else. I'm glad you've come to your senses.
Objection!
Not so fast. This still doesn't put you in the clear. Not by a long shot. Ugh. Oof. Franziska's Logic, Part 2. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit that turbulence. And then you waited for the victim in the lounge, where you beat him to death. Then while you were in the elevator with the victim's body stuffed into the suitcase. The plane hit that patch of turbulence, and out flew the body from within the suitcase. With no way out, you hastily, put the suitcase back where you had taken it from. And pretended to be the discoverer of the body. Not a bad bit of logic for something you thought of on the fly. Just what are you insinuating? That I will show you exactly how flawed your logic is. No matter how strong of a face you put on, not even you can hide your fears from me. I'll expose the flaws in your logic in one fell swoop. Franziska's Logic, Part 2. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit that turbulence.
Hold it!
And how do you suppose I was able to take the piggy bank out of its display case? As I recall, the case was locked. That's easy. If the case was locked, you simply had to hit the glass, like this. But it was broken from the... It was broken from the inside.
Yo! You've shattered my heart of glass.
So she wants to talk about the in-flight shop and the Captain Ugo bank, does she? That takes care of how you obtained the murder, weapon. And then you waited for the victim in the lounge, where you beat him to death. This was the glass was broken from the inside too. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit the turbulence, and then you waited for the victim in the lounge where you beat him to death.
Hold it!
I thought there wasn't any of the victim's blood found in the lounge. I thought you'd say that. What? Did you think I wouldn't have noticed? I think you just found a way to cleverly hide the blood splatter in the lounge. You don't have any proof of that. By accidentally spilling grape juice on top of it. Are you accusing me of tampering with the crime scene now? We'll see, won't we? The forensic scientists are hard at work on that as we speak. And what do you propose I did after that? Then while you were in the elevator with the victim's body stuffed into the suitcase.
Hold it!
So I put the victim's body into the suitcase and then... Where was I headed, Franziska? That's pretty obvious. You were bringing it to the first class, where you could safely keep an eye on it. We're talking about this thing, you know. I hardly call it discreet or ordinary. Annoying brat. Well then, you were intending to leave it inside the elevator. But unfortunately for you, a wretch was thrown into your plans because... the plane hit that patch of turbulence, and out flew the body from within the suitcase.
Hold it!
You've experienced turbulence in a flight before. Of course, many times. You get used to it after a while. The patch we hit was especially rough, and I passed out briefly, but only for a second.
Good thing it was only for a sec, sir. It'd been bad if you had really blanked out.
Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, blanking out is exactly what got me into this mess in the first place. That's enough of your idle chatter. I'm not through with you yet, Miles Edgeworth. With no way out, you hastily put the suitcase back where you had taken it from.
Hold it!
If I really were a criminal, do you really think I would be so easily caught?
Objection!
You are certainly in the middle of being caught right now. Arrgh! I have to find a contradiction fast, or I won't have much of my own hide left to save. I have to say, you are looking rather caught right now. And I'll tell you exactly what you did after that. You loitered around in the lounge. And pretended to be the discoverer of the body.
Hold it!
I didn't pretend to be anything. I really was the first to discover the victim's body. I suppose that's true. So then you are yielding to my statements? Don't be foolish. I still insist that you are the killer, but... in that sense, you really were the first to discover the body to be dead. No matter what I say, she seems dead set on making me out to be the killer. Her logic is reasonably sound, and the large majority of it reflects the truth. But there is one point about it that is not quite right. Okay, so there's an error she made. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit the turbulence. This was taken out of its display case in the in-flight shop after the turbulence. After the turbulence. Okay. Before the plane. So yeah, this was smashed from the inside. So yeah, this is, I'm pretty sure it's this. Let's see if I'm right.
Objection!
Oh yeah, I'm right. The fact that, so, how do you know if you're right or wrong? You know if you're right when the music stops. So when the music stops, you know you got the right answer. If it keeps going, you made a mistake. The fact that you took this piece of evidence into account in your testimony is to be commended. Your legal prowess is certainly something to be feared. Evidence and logic. Essential tools that those who would stand in a courtroom must learn to master. But what if there was a fake piece of evidence thrown into the mix? A fake? This Captain Ugo piggy bank is just such a fake. It is not the real murder weapon. What? The timing of when the bank was taken from the shop is important. And it was taken after the turbulence had occurred. But then, what about the blood on the bank? What do you make of that? I assume it was added after the murder, when the killer fabricated this weapon. Looking at it this way, the killer basically did 3 things after the turbulence. After exiting the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase to the shop and left it there. Then the killer proceeded to pick the bank up from the floor. So that's basically how it went down. Yeah, because it was broken from the inside. The turbulence did that. And took it to fabricate a fake murder weapon by hitting the victim on the head. Finally, the victim's wallet was placed on my personage, in my pocket to be precise. Everything was done so that I would be framed for the murder of Mr. Ackby Hicks. You there! Yes, ma'am. Other than this piggy bank, was anything else resembling a murder weapon found? We didn't find anything in this lounge or in the shop that could be used as one, ma'am. Most of the items that could have been used were broken during the turbulence. And the remaining items all tested negative for any trace of blood. I see. Well, Miles Edgeworth, it appears your stall tactics are at an end. So, what could be the murder weapon?
But it's possible it's just hidden somewhere, sir. Peek!
If the criminal had wanted to hide the weapon in a safer place, I'd think the weapon would have been hidden in the same place as the bloody cloth. Exactly what I was thinking. Because the cloth was hidden inside that suitcase, it signals to me that the killer had not prepared a more secure place to hide the evidence. Which means that the real murder weapon is either still on the murderous personage, or is still at the real crime scene.
Objection!
There's one more possibility. And that would be that the piggy bank is in fact the real weapon. But didn't we just... Let me finish. The killer took the bank out from the display case before the turbulence by opening the lock on the display case door. And it was at that time that the glass pane in the door was broken. I'd say that's a perfectly reasonable line of reasoning, wouldn't you say? Let's see. That means that the killer had the key to the display case. Franziska, the person you're talking about. Not so fast, I'm not finished. The person I'm talking about also committed another sin. She tricked the captain and granted you permission to conduct your investigation. Yes, it is the sin of lying. Speaking of which, I recall that you also wished to speak with her. Yes. Very well, permission granted, but only if I can sit in on your interrogation. Do we understand each other? I have no intention of interrogating her, but you are welcome to accompany me if you so wish. Miss Teneiro is in the flight attendant's room. Let's move. March 12, 2:23 p.m., flight G390, first floor, flight attendant's room. So you're the one that poked around inside the, plane without the captain's permission. Deviating from the flight attendant's manual is very unbecoming, you know. What were you hoping to accomplish by doing that? Miss Teneiro. Ah, Mr. Edgeworth, you're here too. Can you please help us and shed some light on why you did what you did? Alright. Okay, I gotta check out this room. It's pretty easy to tell who sleeps in which bunk just by looking. I'm almost certain that the well-kept one up top belongs to Miss Teneiro.
Oh, the bottom one is a giant mess.
You sloven, squalid scoundrel of a man. You dare scrutinize a woman's bed and invade her privacy?
Yo!
There are some things in life best kept to yourself, detective. The garbage. There's sure to be a clue of some sort in this trash can. Detective Gumshoe, if you please.
Yes, sir. You just leave the rummaging to me.
Scruffy, how dare you go through a woman's trash without her permission? Have you no sense of honor?
Peek! I'm sorry. I'm just doing what Mr. Edgeworth told me to. Oh!
Forgive me, detective. Okay, captain's permission. Why did you, lie about receiving the captain's permission like that? Because I didn't think I would be able to get his permission. What do you mean? The captain, he only has ears for Cammy. I spoke with the captain a little earlier myself. He definitely seems to be rather taken with Miss Meal. Yes, and on top of that, I mistakenly accused Mr. Edgeworth of being the killer. I wanted to make amends. In that case, please allow me to thank you for what you did. Thanks to you, I was able to clear myself of all charges. Really? You were able to prove your innocence. Oh, thank goodness. Miss Teneiro, is it? There's one more thing I'd like to ask you. You were in the in-flight shop just before the turbulence, weren't you? Please answer honestly. Yes, I was. And why were you there? Well, Why this sudden hesitation? Franziska seems to have struck a nerve. Why is she getting nervous? In-flight shop. All I did was go check up on the shop like I always do. You're saying it was for work then? Yes. I'm in charge of the shop, so I have to keep an eye on it. I don't have any reason to go there otherwise. After your visit to the shop, you paid a visit to this room, correct? Yes, I came back to freshen up and adjust my makeup. I'm sorry, but there isn't much else to tell. Miss Teneiro claims to have no reason other than duty to go to the shop. Well, is that all there is to it? Maybe I should ask her about that thing. Present. The suitcase. If you could please take a look at this for me, Miss Teneiro. Oh, that suitcase. Yes, about this suitcase. You are the one who designed it, correct? And I think I figured something else out about it. This suitcase is the reason you went to the shop, isn't it? There's nothing you won't find out eventually, is there? Won't you please tell me more about the suitcase? Let me put my camera here so you can see the reactions better. Yes, I was interested in seeing how the suitcase I had designed were selling. I know that as a service professional, I'm not supposed to care. But I really wanted to know. And I was glad to see that it was the last one there. The last one there. The last suitcase. So you're saying, Miss Teneiro, that the suitcase in question was the last one? Yes. They're just so popular, they're practically flying off the shelves. That's not exactly the impression I got. The one in the shop is most definitely the last one. Well, we're currently looking at that suitcase. Really? Then I guess we sold all of them. Thank you very much for taking the last one. I didn't say anything about buying it. Then say you'll buy it. I'm sorry, I can't. But why? I think it'd go great with your complexion, Mr. Edgeworth. It really suits you. I guarantee you personally as a service professional. Oh man, she loves saying professional, doesn't she? Well, that is... How should I put this? It's hideous. Well, what? Maybe that was a bit too direct. Moving on, my issue with the suitcase isn't the design, it's the number of them remaining. Remaining? There were 2 suitcases in the in-flight shop when I investigated it. 2? But that's impossible! I'm sure there was only 1. Looks like her story has generated quite the contradiction. Yeah. When I left the shop, so either she's lying or she's telling the truth and the second suitcase appeared. I'm positive there was only 1 suitcase left. Something is amiss here. What could be the meaning of this inconsistency? By the way, Miss Teneiro, what is one of those suitcases, doing here? Oh, right, that is, I just realized it. That's... I thought you said there was only 1 left. That is what... It's mine. I've used it for a very long time now. She's used it for a long time. Think not. Miss Teneiro, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't lie to me. Excuse me? I don't, believe for even, 1 second that you used this for a very long time. Yeah, because it's still... What proves that this hasn't been used for nearly as long as Miss Teneiro says? Price tag is still on here, yeah.
Take that!
Tell me, Miss Teneiro, is it also, 1,200 for that? Tell me, Miss Teneiro, is it also your habit to keep the price tag pristine on your suitcase? Ah! What is the meaning of this? Why would you lie about a suitcase? Despite having faith in her design sense, the sales numbers made her cry bitter tears. The truth is becoming increasingly clear to me. Miss Teneiro, I think I understand. I know what you were trying to hide. Now then, the suitcase was originally in the in-flight shop. Seeing as how the price tag is still in the suitcase, she was trying to make it seem like it's been purchased. That's what she was. She was trying to do that. One can only assume it was out on the floor for sale in the shop. And the person who bought the suitcase was her, Rhoda Teneiro.
Take that!
It was you, wasn't it, Miss Teneiro? I hate to say this, but this suitcase that you designed, it hasn't sold very well, has it? You saw how poorly this design that you poured your heart into was selling. And you were deeply hurt. That's why you wanted to make it look like it was selling by buying it yourself. Isn't that right? Then the reason you went to the shop and came back here was... I'm sorry. All I really have is my job. I was overjoyed when my design was chosen. I thought that maybe I'd finally accomplish something. But the suitcase didn't sell. It's because of the design, isn't it? All because it's, as you put it, hideous. I can't say they chose a great place in which to sell them either. We weren't selling a single one, and they were just sitting there collecting dust. I felt so bad seeing them there day in and day out, so I decided to buy one for every flight I worked. You buy one every single time you work a flight? I see. So in order to keep your resolution, you went and bought one today as well? Yes, and here is the receipt for that purchase. This receipt is clearly timestamped 5:40 a.m. This receipt is actually a very valuable piece of evidence because it narrows down the murder scene. What was going on? Bought at the in-flight shop and left in the attendance room. The timestamp says 5:40 a.m. The truth is, there's still a bunch of them left unsold. They're planning to scrap the remaining ones at the end of this flight. Miss Teneiro, where are those other suitcases? They should all be down in the cargo hold. Then the suitcase the killer used could very well have come from the cargo hold. Mr. Edgeworth, you don't think that the killer used one of my suitcases to... Yes, I do. The killer used one of your beloved suitcases to move the victim's body. Ah! How could they? Those suitcases were meant to be faithful partners to our passengers on their trips. That's all I ever wished for them to be. Now I kind of feel bad for her. Miss Teneiro, is there any other way to get to the cargo hold other than the elevator? The only other way is just through that door there. And what about that security? That door has no special lock installed because just to enter this room, you need a special key card that only crew members have access to. Which means the culprit is someone who can enter this room, eliminating the passengers and leaving only crew members as potential suspects. I can't believe it. Yes, Franziska. Going on these wild goose chases, you're a disgrace to the Von Karma name. And what do you mean by that? The suitcase came from the cargo hold. That fact alone tells the whole story. Yes, which is why I said the culprit must be a crew member who used their key card. Miles Edgeworth, you're proposing that the killer rode the elevator from the cargo hold, correct? Yes, that's the only realistic possibility. That other attendant, Miss Meal. I asked her earlier, and she had this to say. Franziska got information out of Miss Meal. In order to make the elevator go down the cargo hold, a different key card is required. A different one? Yes, and the only person who holds that particular card is you, Miss Rhoda Teneiro, and only you. Ah! What? Is this true, Miss Teneiro? Yes, I keep that key card in my locker at all times. Could you please show us that card right now? Yes, hold on. I don't believe it. What's wrong? The key card, it's gone. Ah, very clever. Pretending that your card was stolen when in fact you're just trying to hide it from us. No, I don't believe she's the killer. She's being set up. You've really thought this through. Ooh, wait, it's not like that. You can tell us all about what it's like down at the station. Officer, arrest this woman. No, don't. Yes, ma'am. No, you don't have enough evidence that she's the killer. Mr. Edgeworth. What's wrong? There's disbelief written all over your face. Franziska, I know that you were the lead investigator in this case, however. Hold it! Don't ever think about wasting any more of my time. You know the rules as well as I do. Evidence speaks louder than words. Even if this isn't a courtroom, that basic tenet still applies. I intend to investigate the cargo hold now. What will you do, Miles Edgeworth? I intend to do likewise. To be continued. Oh, it wraps up here. Oh. Yeah, this case is getting really good now, really good. I thought it was kind of a little boring at the start, but it's getting actually a lot better. So sometimes some of these cases take a little bit of time to build up. So I guess we'll see what's going on, but, literally, it is, at this point, there's only 2 other people who could have done this. It's either the captain or Miss Meal. It's either one of them. And just because, and he might not have been in the cockpit, he might have had the plane on autopilot, and he might have actually gone down to the cargo hold and done it. So it has to be either Miss Meal or the captain. It has to be either of them. I'm convinced it's either one of them. But thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this part. If you did, drop a like. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.